This is Midnight Whisper. Turn off the lights. And listen. I took the night job because it paid more than it should have. No interview. No background check. Just a short phone call and a single question. Can you stay awake from midnight to 6? The man's voice was calm, flat, like he'd asked the same thing 100 times before. I said yes before I had time to think. The motel sat alone on a forgotten stretch of highway, surrounded by trees that grew too close to the road, the kind of place you don't notice during the day and actively avoid at night. When I arrived for my first shift, the parking lot was empty. No cars, no lights in the rooms, just the buzzing glow of the front office sign and the sound of insects humming in the dark. The manager handed me a single key and a thin rule sheet. He didn't smile. Your job is simple, he said. Sit at the desk, answer the phone if it rings, and whatever you do, don't leave the building between 2 and 3 in the morning. I laughed softly, waiting for him to explain the joke. He didn't. Before I could ask why, he turned and walked out into the night, leaving me alone with the flickering lights and the smell of old carpet. At exactly midnight, the wall clock clicked forward, louder than it should have. The lights above the desk flickered once, then steadied. For a while, nothing happened. No guests, no cars, no sound except the hum of electricity and my own breathing. The silence felt thick, pressed in from every direction. Then, at 1:47 a.m., the phone rang. I stared at it for a moment before picking it up. Front desk, I said. No response, just breathing on the other end of the line. Slow, careful, like someone standing very still. Hello? I asked again. The breathing stopped. The call ended. I checked the call log. There was nothing there. As I placed the phone back on the receiver, a strange thought crept into my mind. The feeling that someone had been listening, from much closer than the phone line. I glanced toward the hallway that led to the guest rooms. Every door was closed. Every light was off. And yet, for the first time that night, I was certain of one thing. I wasn't completely alone. After the phone call ended, the silence felt heavier than before. I kept glancing at the clock on the wall, watching the minutes crawl forward one by one. 1:52 a.m., 1:55 a.m. I told myself the call was a prank. Old buildings made strange noises, and lonely places did strange things to your mind. Still, I didn't leave the desk. At 1:59 a.m., the air changed. It wasn't gradual. It dropped all at once, like someone had opened a door to winter. I rubbed my hands together and looked up just as the clock clicked over. 2 a.m. The manager's warning echoed in my head. Don't leave the building between 2 and 3. I stayed seated, my eyes fixed on the hallway that led to the guest rooms. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Uneven. Dragging slightly, as if whoever was walking didn't want to lift their feet. They weren't coming from the hallway. They were coming from outside. The sound stopped directly in front of the office door. I held my breath. There was a pause. Then, 3 soft knocks. Not loud, not urgent, almost polite. I didn't move. The knocks came again, harder this time. Then a voice spoke from just outside the door. I think you forgot something. The voice was calm. Too calm. What did I forget? I asked, my throat tight. My room key, it replied. You gave me the wrong one. I glanced at the key rack behind the desk. Every hook was empty. There aren't any guests here, I said. The voice went quiet. For a long moment, all I could hear was the hum of the lights and my own heartbeat. Then the voice spoke again, closer this time. You said that last night, too. My stomach tightened. I've never worked here before, I said. A soft laugh came through the door. Low, almost amused. That's what you said. Right before you opened the door. The handle didn't turn. The door didn't move. But I could feel someone standing there, waiting. At 2:17 a.m., the lights dimmed. Not off, just low enough to stretch the shadows across the floor. The footsteps returned. This time, they weren't outside. They were inside the building, and they were coming from behind me. I didn't turn around. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to look, to confirm what I already knew. But I stayed still. The footsteps stopped. I could feel someone standing behind me, close enough that the air felt different, colder, thinner. My phone buzzed on the desk. The sudden sound nearly made me jump out of my skin. I looked down. No notification. No missed call. Just the screen lighting up on its own. Then the desk phone rang again. I picked it up without thinking. "You're still at the desk," the manager's voice said. "You're doing better tonight." My mouth felt dry. "There's someone in here," I whispered. "Someone is standing behind me." He didn't answer right away. When he spoke again, his voice was quieter. "Do you hear your name?" I listened. At first, there was nothing. Then, very softly, I heard it. My name, spoken right next to my ear. I squeezed my eyes shut. "Yes," I said. "Good," the manager replied. "Don't answer it." "What is this place?" I asked. "What happens between 2 and 3? Another pause. "This is when the building remembers," he said. "And sometimes, it forgets who's working the desk." The lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then they went out completely. The darkness was immediate. Heavy. I could hear breathing again. Not from the phone. From behind me. Slow. Patient. The manager's voice came back, faint now. "If you see yourself tonight," he said, "don't speak. And whatever you do, don't look twice." The line went dead. In the darkness, something leaned closer. So close I could feel its breath against my neck. Cold. Wrong. Then it spoke in my voice. "Your shift is almost over," it said. "Why don't you let me finish it for you?" I stayed silent. I stayed still. The clock ticked loudly somewhere in the dark. 2:31 a.m. And then I heard the knock again. Not on the door. On the desk. Right beside my hand. I didn't move. The knocking stopped. The silence felt louder than any sound before it. Then, the lights came back on, slowly, flickering. The lobby looked the same, but it felt wrong. The desk was scratched. Deep marks, like something had been dragged across it. The clock read 2:59 a.m., 1 minute left. My phone vibrated again. This time, there was a message. "Unknown number. You handled it better than the last one." My stomach turned. Before I could reply, another message appeared. "Check the security monitor." I turned toward the small screen mounted behind the desk. It showed the lobby. Empty. Then the camera angle switched. The hallway. Empty. Another switch. The elevator. Empty. Then the final camera came on. The front desk. I was on the screen, sitting exactly as I was now. But behind me, someone else was standing there. Tall. Still. Its face was hidden in shadow, but I knew. Somehow, it was smiling. The thing on the screen leaned closer to me, and then it looked straight into the camera. At me. The desk phone rang one last time. I answered. "You made it," the manager said. "That means the building chose you." "I don't want this job," I said. "I'm quitting." A soft laugh came through the phone. "You already did," he replied. 3 hours ago. The security screen flickered again. The image changed. Now I wasn't sitting at the desk. I was standing behind it, watching someone else sit in my chair, a younger version of me, confused, tired, alive. My chest tightened. "What happens at 3?" I asked. The clock clicked over. 3 a.m. The lobby lights shut off, the screen went black, the phone line went dead. And then, I was standing, behind the desk, behind myself. The doors opened at the front of the building. A new employee stepped inside, nervous, hopeful. I tried to warn them. I tried to speak. But the only thing that came out was a whisper. "Your shift starts now." The doors closed. The clock reset. 2 a.m. and somewhere deep in the building. The night began again. The night isn't over yet. If this story stayed with you, another whisper awaits. Until next time, good night.